there too and see if it's playing?
Yeah, 1 second, man. I'm trying to type it out.
When you get a chance, because
yeah, I actually got it on this computer right here.
Because otherwise I'll have echo in my ear.
Yeah, I get it.
Share it in the Pipsters as well and whatnot.
Let's refresh. I can even put it in there too. It's not a big deal because I just put it on my main page too. So, oh, come on. It's not yet. Let's see. Or did you do it into the? It's on. Oh, YouTube. You're on YouTube.
Yeah. YouTube Furious Snipers LLC. It should play live. Oh my God! It's actually showing the preview on YouTube. Holy crap!
Yeah, there we go. Copy that. Oh, you can put that on my main page. I'll put that under the comments so they can watch on either one. Edit post. No, damn it. That's it.
You posting Pipsters?
I will here in a second.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So you want me to do the YouTube or the actual Zoom link?
Up to you, either one.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna turn on. Can I play? Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Are we open yet?
What do you mean?
Are people on the? Oh yeah, they are. We have
yeah. People are rolling in.
All right. I'll talk to you. Funny thing later. I'll tell you a story.
All right, I'm gonna share.
Get back into being significant. Just woke up.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
What are you gonna do today to walk towards your goal?
Everybody wants the prize, but nobody loves the process. Everybody wants to be a champion, but nobody's willing to put in the work that it takes to be a champion. Everybody wants to hold up the trophy and say, man, I did it, but nobody's willing to put in the work that it takes to do it. I love the process. I love the thought of working for what I want. And I firmly believe you're never supposed to wish for it more than you're willing to work for it. Your expectations never supposed to exceed your effort. But a lot of people, they wish, and they're not willing to work. And the great thing about life has a funny way of testing all of us and seeing how bad we really want what it is that we say we want.
If you're still talking about your dreams, if you're still talking about your goals, but you have not done anything, just take the first step. I'm asking you to take the first step. The first step is stop talking about it. The second step is just take one step toward it. And then the next day, take another step toward it. When you become the right person, I'm telling you, you can make whatever kind of money you want to make. You can have whatever you want to have. You can do whatever you want to do. Like there are no limitations.
See, average people are too scared to shine the light. Too self-conscious to be vulnerable. But it's from that place of vulnerability that greatness, that you find your identity, that you find power, the kind of power that it takes to change the world. The deep is where the living is. And if you want to taste the greatness, you gotta be willing to venture to the unknown, to that place that scares you. Stop tiptoeing into your destiny. Get out of that comfort zone and be all that God made you to be.
Whatever dream you have, use all your energy to make it into reality.
Push yourself to become the person you are destined to become.
It's not easy. It's hard changing your life.
I'm talking about a problem in my life. So for you, I don't know what it is, but that problem, you cannot ignore it. Why? It will not go away. It will not go away on its own. It will not. You won't just wake up one day and it won't be there anymore. It's going to be there and it will haunt you for the rest of your life. So I'm telling you from personal experience, deal with it. Deal with it. And the sooner you deal with it and the sooner you overcome it, the sooner you get to your rewards, baby. The sooner you get on the other side of it, the sooner you begin to feel fulfillment. The sooner you get on the other side is self-actualization. Your dreams become a reality. The sooner you get on the other side of the problem is a wealth of success. The sooner you deal with the fact that you have test anxiety, deal with it. It's not the end of the world. Deal with it. Because when you deal with it, you can create a solution that you and relationship, deal with it. Deal with the fact that you are a procrastinator. Deal with the fact that it's hard for you to execute. Deal with the fact every time something happens, you're worried about it. Deal with the fact that you have this anxiety that every time you're about to reach another level of success, every time you're about to go to another level, you feel overwhelmed. Deal with the fact that you're struggling with your success, that you feel like, why me and why not my sister, or why me and why not other people. Deal with the fact that you feel guilty that you're successful. Deal with it.
And I was sleeping in my office. It was hard when just over 3 years ago, in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan, where I was operating my business, and I fell on some hard times. It was hard coming into the lobby, and the security said, "Excuse me, Mr. Brown, can we see you for a moment?" And I said, "Yes," and I walked up to the counter, and he gave me an envelope. And he said, "Would you mind reading it here?" And I opened the envelope, and the envelope was from management that said, "This is an office tower. It's not a hotel. Please do not sleep in your office." And I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "I just work long hours in creating my business. I'm an entrepreneur. And right now things are bad for me, but they're not going to be this way always. I'm not trying to make this my home." And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. And look at him. He's bathing in the bathroom upstairs on the 21st floor. He sleeps on the floor. Him and 2 other dreamers up there. Look at him. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, "God, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to take care of my children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me?" It was rough when I lost my job.
What's up, everyone? Can everybody hear me okay? Type 1 in the chat if you can.
Loud and clear, brother.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Welcome to the stream. A few things before we begin. For those of you who are new, I got an alert. Time to sell gold. Anyway, so for those of you who are new, this is an Ask a Mentor. This is not Furious Sunday. It's more about the person, the trader himself, rather than teaching call or some kind of mentorship call for you to learn how to trade. Be respectful of the guests, be respectful of us, please. What? Blank screen? What are you talking about?
You're good. I can see your
Oh,
screen.
okay. Sorry. So if you have any questions, like we got some questions to go through that we usually go through. I'm gonna ask them first. Please ask your questions at any time by typing them into the Q&A section so they don't get mixed up in the chat. Mike will give us his Instagram because unfortunately I don't know it. But if you at any point want to add us as friends or just connect with us here, the ones on the screen, I don't know if Mike's is correct. We'll correct it in a second if it's not. And I see, stop trolling. If you are a troll, get out. Doesn't help anyone. Yeah. Other than that, well, let's go. So welcome everyone to. Oh, let's start recording. We are the first time streaming on YouTube today. So I don't even know if it gets recorded on YouTube. I have no idea how that works yet. We used to do Facebook, but I think YouTube is going to be better. Okay, so if you want to, if the Zoom all of a sudden becomes full, and if you want to invite some friends, give them, tell them to go to YouTube and type in Furious Snipers LLC. They should see it live. Okay. So I was gonna say, yeah. Without further ado, let's bring out Mike Azevedo. And what's up, Mike? How you doing?
What's going on, man? How's it going?
It's going good.
I hear you, bro.
Man.
Hey, for some reason it says that people can't log in. I don't know if there's an issue. It said that they're hold on, what did it say?
No, so remember earlier I locked it, so they probably tried to get in before. So
just have them try to refresh or retry to do.
All right, yeah, because he just did it. He did it 5 minutes ago, I think, and it said the host canceled your webinar registration. But all right, no biggie, no biggie. They can figure it out.
All right,
seems like
worries, man.
Yeah,
they're rolling in and out because we're all the 70.
All right,
I'm
good,
pretty
bro.
sure it's working for most people. Yeah. So, how was your day, Mike? Did it good today? How's
it was pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good. Awesome. Yeah, it was a nice little day. What day? Is it? It's Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday.
It is Thursday. Yeah.
So this is interesting because I never seen you before, but I actually learned that you knew about us before, and you actually asked me some things. I looked in the chat. I was like, oh, this guy reached out to me before. I was like,
yeah.
And then turns out you're a mentor and you're like this awesome guy and profitable and sponsored by FTMO and all that stuff. And I was like, I never heard of you. I know Mike Navarrete. I know Mike Miles. I don't know Mike Azevedo. So who is Mike Azevedo? And for those who don't know, how long you've been trading? It started for you, and I guess all in one question: how did you start trading smart money?
So my trading journey actually began in February of 2019, February 1st. So I'm not a young buck like some of these traders. I'm turning 40 pretty soon, and I came from a career field where I honestly was just ready to move on. I was tired, man. My body and my mind just couldn't do it anymore, and I had been searching for something to do, and it just so happened that one of my trainers, his son was a chairman in IM, and kind of got me into the business to start, as far start learning how to trade, start doing what I was doing. It took me about 6 months of testing out different strategies to finally get into smart money. And
6 months, that's it.
Yeah. I decided, 6 months of not seeing real results, and I was definitely motivated. Like I said, I'd been in my job for 17 years, and I was just done. I needed to do something else. So I was really determined, really motivated to get into something that I can really excel at. And part of I think what's made me a pretty decent trader is trading takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of dedication. And prior to, so I was a police officer, right? Prior to being a police officer, I was in the military, and I was in the military for 7.5 years, and a lot of the crazy stuff I did in the military required the same discipline, same dedication, same mental and physical fitness that you need to be a trader. So I think that's why trading really came not easy to me, but the for anyone who's been in the military, especially if you've gone through boot camp, if you've gone through specialty school and stuff like that, you'll know what I'm talking about when it comes to trading. Like you understand that you're going to take your lumps. You understand that, instructors are going to come up and, beat you down. You understand that when you get into a real life situation that, crap's going to hit the fan, but you just move on, and I used to always say, pop smoke, find another LZ, something goes bad, you just find another alternative. And that's how I take a trading. I take a loss, find out why I took the loss, figure out how I can not take the loss again, and figure out how I can make the trade better and move on, but yeah. So that's how it all started for me. It took me probably, I'll say right now. So I've probably been trading smart money for about 1.5 years, going on almost 2 years. And then I know a lot of people know me from my Wyckoff theory stuff, my schematics and stuff. And I'll tell you right now, I started learning Wyckoff at the beginning of 2020. That's when I started learning Wyckoff. And I probably spent anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week diving into understanding supply demand, understanding, the true reasons behind schematics and how to identify them. Most importantly, how to trade them.
Right. Now, this is going to be a twist question that, go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering, what branch were you in? I was Army myself, so.
I bet you couldn't. I bet nobody could guess what branch of the military I was in.
Well, I knew you were in the Army because you don't talk like it.
No.
You're not in the Air Force. No. No, you weren't Coast Guard, were you?
I was in the Coast Guard.
Were you?
First guess, right there.
There you go.
I was in the Coast Guard, but funny, I spent most of my time in Central and South America and the Middle East.
I was just going off the way you talked about it, and that's all.
Yeah. Most people
we kind of look like twins here. Everyone pushing 40.
Everybody's got beards and bald, and yeah.
Could make a show like this.
It wasn't too long ago, man, that I had a whole head of hair, man. So but it is what it is. I enjoy it, man.
I've been here for 19 years.
Nice. So you talked about Wyckoff, and it just so happened that I got in this huge argument with one of the guys that I know today. He was just saying Wyckoff is baloney and all that. I was telling him, you're baloney, right? But having said that, I do think that is definitely not what you should start learning as you learn smart money.
Yeah,
I personally think you need to understand structure first and foremost, order flow maybe after that. And after that, when you're successful doing that and identifying trades and identifying the
price action
and where to enter and like the institutional candles and whatnot, and know how to precision trade, like go multi-time frame confluence, go on a small time frame and get the trade. After that, you might want to get into schematics, because people, what happens is you transition from retail stuff, right? And you trade support resistances, and then you learn things like head and shoulders or right, and then you learn the schematic, and you're like, oh, it's like head and shoulders, just a little bit more complex. Let's try to find that. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about that? Like,
I'll tell you this. So I agree 100%. I think it needs to be in stages. I'll tell you right now, I think the biggest problem that most traders have is they don't understand structure, right? And and I tell people all the time, structure is the be all end all. Trading starts with structure, it ends with structure. If you can't, and I'll even say, like, I am by no means a structure master. I'll tell you, when I take a loss, when I go back to review the trade, 99% of the time, it's because I misread structure. Whether it was on a different time frame, whether the leg I was looking at was, whether I was in a rush and I didn't really go far back enough to see exactly where structure was, and that's the problem. Like I'll tell you, a lot of people get tunnel vision. They get stuck on like a 5-minute chart, a 1-minute chart, a 1-hour chart, but they don't look at everything. One of the things I tell people is that there's a reason that it's called a top-down analysis and not a bottom-up analysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to start from the top and work down. But I agree, like you don't want to jump right into schematics. Structure, you want to work on understanding why institutions are building that schematic. You want to understand why, an institutional candle is created, why, why these things happen before you can really dive into Wyckoff, because without it, you're just labeling charts. You're not understanding exactly what the price action inside of those charts is doing. And I think that's the biggest, I think that's the biggest issue that newer traders and schematic and Wyckoff have, is they just label, they'll label a chart and not actually understand the price action inside that schematic. And ultimately that's a result of a loss.
That's exactly what I said today in the comments to one of the guys that were asking about his schematics. I was like,
yeah,
oh.
I can tell you this. So like when I analyze a chart, my analysis is based off of a weekly, daily, and 4-hour time frame. I just go down to the 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute to find the entry.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
I may wait. I'll tell you right now, like I've waited 3, 4, 5 weeks for a trade to come into my point of interest just so I can go pro trend.
So that's another important point, because I think that's my vice, is I am impatient as all get out. I'm the most aggressive trader. On a typical day, I probably take 45 trades because I understand actually. Yeah, today I took 70. The reason is I'm getting to, I don't know if you know the guy by the name of Reem, who on my opinion is the best trader in the world.
Reem.
But
no,
we'll talk about it after the stream.
Okay.
But so he on a daily basis can double his account basically.
Yeah. That's awesome.
The guy is a legend, but regardless, it's impossible to get into his.
The reason I can't take 70 trades a day is because those 70 trades would involve me taking 15 hours of journaling.
Well, that we're coming to that question. We're coming to that question.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
So yeah, no, but that's because I'm actually able to. I'm trying to. It's a hit and miss, but I'm trying to get every single move with understanding how it moves and why it turns around. So even though I have one giant trade, let's say, I don't know, 10 lots, that's coming as a swing trade on the lag of expansion or whatever. And then within it, I can take little 1, 2, 3s, 1, 2, 5s with stop losses of 1.5 pips, and I will find out very fast if I'm wrong or right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll hedge positions. I'll hedge, but for me, in order to, and I'll work, I'll tell you, like, so I'm definitely a New York trader, right? Like those days of me getting up for London are long gone. I mean, I'll say I'll get up at London crossover, which is like 5:30 Eastern for me, and it turns into me waking up at 8. So yeah, those days of me, I'll be honest, like, it's a joke now because I'll tell people, yeah, I'm going to try and get up early tomorrow, and it just doesn't happen. But it is what it is. I'll tell you this though, like if I get, if I get into a decent position, or if I get in a great position early London or New York session, I'll work that position all day. Like I can remember a EuroCAD morning where I spent the entire day just trading EuroCAD, and it was like 11 total positions. And I laugh because, especially some of the people that I'm working with now, like I'm very cognizant of my stop losses. Like now it's like, oh, it's a 6 pip stop loss. It's too big, man. I can't do a 6 pip stop loss, So yeah. I understand working the positions. I understand, and of course hedging. Like, listen, I'm a big proponent of hedging, especially if I can protect the position, but I've got to be in the pro trend part of the trade first before I can hedge the counter trend move,
So that kind of transitions me into 2 more questions. So one is you're no longer working as a job. So this question it's my favorite one. if you have, what is the advice for you for people from you who work, who actually still work because they can't afford to just trade um, from 9 to 5 or whatever the schedule, and they have families, they have kids, whatever, and they, for instance, can't trade London Open and New York Open, but they can trade maybe um, Asia or maybe just on Monday during New York or something like this. Like do they how do they trade? What on your opinion? Like, what's the
So
advice?
I'll tell you this, like and this is all just like my personal opinion, right? Like I've heard people say, learn 3 pairs, right? Study 3 pairs, learn them, and do that. I personally, if you ask me, and I tell people all the time, I don't limit myself, right? I trade the opportunity. I don't trade the pair. Um, so, like what I mean by that is,
Trade the setup.
exactly, trade the setup. So if I only trade EU, GU, and GJ, and there's not a setup for me in 3 months, guess what? I'm not making any money. So, I could tell you this, like there are opportunities at any time of the day except for Sydney session. I refuse to even look at the market during Sydney session just because of the spreads. But I've caught I'll tell you, I've caught quite a significant amount of trades during Asian session. Um, One of my favorite pairs, UCAD, is notorious for giving great schematics during Asian session. You know, um, so there's definitely opportunity in there. I could tell you this: like I was a full time. Listen, I was more than a full time worker. I was working as a cop. I was working a 40-hour work week. I was working off duty details, and I was going to court. And I still was able not to so much trade, but to learn the skill. Because if you can really, and this is what I tell people, especially when they're starting out, don't be in a rush to throw money in an account and lose it. Right. One of the things that I would definitely recommend is get a demo account, perfect your demo account. Because if you can't be like a badass trader on your demo account, you're not going to do anything with a real live account. So get that demo account, rock it, and then you're able to go through a funding, proprietary firm or fund your own money. But there shouldn't be an excuse if you really want this. There shouldn't be an excuse that you're working a full-time job that you can't get the knowledge and the art down. Because I'll tell you right now, trading is simply psychology and a basic understanding of the language of the market, and that's it.
Kind of answered my next question about psychology, which is I was going to ask you, how much do you think of trading is that? Because I can prove it personally to anyone that you can absolutely be profitable trading retail stuff if your psychology and risk management is correct.
Yeah.
It's going to be much harder, in my opinion, but you can still be profitable. I mean, we have people in IM using DeLorean that are profitable. Killing it. Yeah. Even what's his name? I can't remember. Chris Derrick. That dude, trades the retests and stuff.
Yeah,
and
break and
he's
retest.
still-
Well, and that's what it comes to. It comes to discipline. I'll tell you right now, like any strategy is successful as long as you can practice proper risk management. That's what it comes down to. If you talk to and anybody, I pose this question to anybody that's blown their account. Show me your trade journal. Show me that you lost, if you risk 2% per trade, show me you lost 50 trades in a row. Because that's what it's going to take to blow your account. If you risk, if you're risking 1% a trade, show me the 100 trades you lost in a row. I think statistically, you're bound to get 1 or 2 trades right in a sequence. You know what I mean? Like if you're losing 100 trades in a row, chances are you've one, you haven't perfected your skill in a demo account, or 2, you just have no idea what's going on. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't be risking capital.
And a lot of people are that way. They just take this part of my problem with softwares that are being sold in IAM and elsewhere is that you're turned into a goddamn sheep that listens to a machine that, yes, has no emotions, but you're completely don't understand anything, you just say, "Oh, this is light is green. I should, I should press buy." And okay,
Yeah.
why did you press buy? And then, even more important, you have no idea why you lost. You don't come
Yeah.
back. You don't analyze your trades. Which, Ryan, you were going to say
I
something.
think, yeah, I think one of the biggest things to go along with that is you have to have a different relationship with money as well. I mean, if you're going to really truly be able to have it, as you grow your account, you've got to actually have a different way, because you're not looking at $5 trades anymore. You're looking at $500 trades or $5,000 trades at some point. So you got, not only that, when you're first starting out, you can't be so worried about losing it. So
Yeah.
like for me, what helped is I actually was funded my account as I went. I decided that I was going to deposit $100 into my account so I could compound it faster. Once you get to a certain amount, then it actually takes over, and eventually could take out what you've initially invested in your golden. But I just really, for me, it was a total different relationship with money. Just I mean, not only in your personal life, I mean, just like saving it. That was huge. That was huge, because then you don't have to worry about it, because you've already budgeted those losses if you're going to take them.
Yeah. No, let me tell you, like I'm very stingy with money. I don't like to spend it. I can tell you this. There's going just on the psychology part of it. There are things that I realized real quick that I had to do. Like, perfect example, like on your MT4, there's a reason why when you're in positive funds, it's blue, and when it's negative, it's bright red. And when you're trading, especially a larger account, like I had to put a sticky note over my phone or my computer so I couldn't see the numbers. Because to me, I didn't want to see numbers. I just wanted to see the pip counts. If I knew I had a 3 pip stop loss and I was only in a pip and a half drawdown, then that's great. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about how much money I was, in drawdown because of the spread. Same thing, like if I'm in profits, someone who has a $500 account that is up 1,200 pips on gold, right, is looking at that number like, yeah, that's a pretty good number. Someone who's got a 6-figure account is up 1,200 pips on gold off a 27 pip stop loss is going to be more reluctant to hold that open, because they're like, oh, it's a significant amount of money. But at the
Dude,
end of the
that
day,
is badass advice. I'm gonna write that down.
yeah,
I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna freaking tape over. I just want to see blue or red. That's it.
yeah, that's it. I don't look at the number, dude. I was 12 off a 27 pip stop loss last week. I was over 1,200 pips in profit on gold, and I could have closed that out probably at 500 pips and been in significant profits. But I didn't, because I was like, I know where it's going. I know what I need to do. I'll take partials as my trading plan requires, but I'm not going to close it out because I'm at the number of profit I'm in. I'm going to close it out at the actual pip, that I want it to go to, and that's one of the, again, psychology, and how do you get to there? I'll tell you right now, how you get to there is through journaling. It's your journaling that you go through,
So can you give us an example of what you journal exactly? So do you just say, okay, I took the trade, or do you actually journal like what emotions you're going through, or how many pips you risked? Like how detailed is that? And how long does it take you?
All right. So I'll tell you this. I average. All right. I can tell you every week I would probably go anywhere from 6 to 12 trades in a week. And it probably takes me almost 40 hours to do a complete journal for those trades.
Do you have like a screenshot of your library? Is it like taking space as much as your bed now? Like where do you?
It is. So I have an entire bookshelf over here. So now this is how my journaling goes, right? It's 2 parts. So the first part is, obviously, if I'm looking at a chart and I'm looking at some trades, so I take screenshots throughout the pre-trade, during the trade, and after the trade. So to give you an example, like if I'm taking a trade, I'm going to have in the neighborhood of 30 to like 60, and even sometimes up to 100 screenshots of that chart. Especially if there's a schematic involved. Like it'll be, charts off the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, the 1 hour, showing structure points, point of interest, getting down to where the schematic was actually printing. I'll even throw line charts in there because sometimes in that 1 minute, those wicks really throw you off. So you got to look at the line chart. So I'll have all of that on the screenshots. And then from the screenshots, I will then go and just type messages into the screenshots. So like I open it all goes into a PDF, and I'll mark up the PDFs with any notes I need to put on the screen, on the screens. I always print out a before, during, and after screenshot, and that goes into my actual physical journal book that I have on my shelf. And that's broken down by, I have it indices, commodities and crypto, and then Forex. And they're broken down by the currency or the asset. And then I have an Excel spreadsheet, right, that I've created that's pretty in depth. It's got multiple pages. The gist of it is a basic journal where it date, currency or asset, if I'm long or short, the lot size, entry price, stop loss, take profit, and then it automatically calculates my risk to reward. And then whatever profits I make, I put that in there. And then I have a drop down menu where I put in whether it was an entry based off of a schematic, was it accumulation distribution, what type of accumulation distribution was it, type 1, 2, 3, 4, was it a reaccumulation, if it was just simply structure, into an institutional candle, things like that. That's how the drop down menu breaks it down, so I can put it into there. And then I have a comment section where I would write, the minute I enter the trade, that journal starts going active, and I start adding in there, okay, entry, hypothetically, we are weekly, daily H4 bullish, H1 bearish into my point of interest, type 1 schematic printed on the 5-minute, entry based off of the test of the spring after break structure. And then I'll type in there, during the trade, what I was thinking, what I was feeling, I like the initial reaction. We got a really nice impulse, engulfing candle, planning on taking partials at the break of H1 high. And then my targets are going to be a new H4 high. All right. And then obviously when I close out the trade, why I closed it out, what events led me to close it out if it didn't hit my final take profit. And then I have tabs next to that where I can put the beginning, the middle, and the end of the trade, the actual link from TradingView that I copy. I'll throw that into the Excel spreadsheet so that if I ever want to go to that exact journal and I can pull up and it'll open up the web link to those journals. So with that, all of that data is now, because I have formulas for that, I can now tell you based on the date of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, based on the time, the session, where I'm profitable and where I'm not. So I can tell you Sundays and Mondays, I'm not very profitable. So guess what days I don't trade? Sundays and Mondays. My big money days, Wednesday, Thursdays, New York session. So that's where, if I'm ever planning vacations, stuff like that, I know that Wednesday, Thursdays are my work days. I can also tell you based on my journal, it breaks it down both in a graph and in a line, which currencies, assets, I'm more profitable at. I could tell you like Euro Chef, I suck at. I have a negative winning percentage and negative percentage gain on Euro Chef. Some of my big winners are GU, CADJ, EJ. So I can tell you based off of that, off my journal, what that is. What else can I see in my journal? My winning percentage. So I could tell you my winning percentage on longs and shorts. I can and it based on that drop down menu that tells me like if it's an accumulation, which type of accumulation, what types of distribution. I can tell you which schematics I'm more profitable at. So I can obviously type 1s are me. I have a higher winning percentage and a better R to R on type 1s. So guess what I always look for? I look for type 1s.
Right. What about when you lose a trade? Like if you lose a trade, and what I'm talking about, like let's say you did research, or does it never happen? Because I think that's great. But so like if you lose it right away, like what do you write down?
So after every trade, no matter if it's a win or a loss, I always do a full case study. So there's I break everything into a PDF, and it's almost like its own. It's its own journal, its own thing that I now have that I store on my Dropbox file, and I attach a shortcut into my Excel spreadsheet. But yeah, so I break down every time frame, and let's just say hypothetically it was a loss. I find out, well, why was it a loss? Was it an improper read on structure? Did I just not have the right point of interest? Could I have done a better trade? You know, even if it was a win, could I have found a tighter stop loss? Could I have held the trade longer to a better point of interest? Should I have taken profits earlier? So all of that goes into my PDF. And that's typically those I do on Fridays. So I'll save everything to do the big case studies I do on Fridays because I don't like to trade Fridays. So that's typically my work day on Friday. But everything else during the week, I have so I'll down, you know, from the the trading view, I have a folder on my desktop that says pending trades, active trades. So, and then inside of those, say I'm in a Euro JPY trade, all the screenshots are going into that Euro JPY trade with that date. And then at the end of the trade, if it's a quick trade, meaning I lost it, then immediately I throw it into a PDF. I'll try to analyze why I took the trade, you know, why the trade went south on me. And then actually see if I can get back into a trade on a reverse, you know, if on a sell, go into a buy, see something like that. But I'll tell you, like, yeah, I spend anywhere from, well, I know what I spend because if you have a Mac, you can go on screen time and it'll tell you exactly how much time you spend on any applications. So I remember Mike Neverett asked me a couple weeks ago, maybe, like what I had spent. And I pulled up my screen time and it said that week I had spent over 40 hours on Excel, just inputting all of the data, putting all the information into my journal. So yeah, I mean, I get very intricate. I break down almost every time frame. I get in there. And then, like I said, I try to figure out, even if it's a winning trade, could I have made it better? And that just helps me for the next trade I'm going to take, you know, and not only does that help in your actual trade, right, but that helps you in your psychology, you know, because now like all that stuff in my journal, and I was just talking to someone today, I was helping him out on a Zoom call. And, you know, just to give it in perspective, right? So this person has a 38% winning percentage, but his average R to R is a 6.8 to 1, you know? So when I look at my journal and I see that I have a 62% winning percentage, right, which is pretty high, especially for Wyckoff, right? It's pretty high, but I'm very selective, right? Nowadays I'm only pro trending. I'm not counter trend trading. So I'm taking less trades and they're with the trend, you know? And I go back and I can see, I mean, this is what allows me to take these 1 pip stop losses is I go back and I look at my journal. I'm like, man, all right. So I win majority of my trades. Majority of the trades I do win have these banger freaking R to R's. I'm going to take it all the time, you know? And one of the things I did was I actually reduced my risk. So you know, most people risk 3%, 2%. I risk 0.25% of my account. That's it. 0.25%.
So do I.
Yeah.
Wait, quarter of 1%, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I risk.
Yep.
Well, you have to, there's a question about, in the questions about the, I think, how, I already answered it, but it was like about how do you become funded trader, which, you know, I told him to reach out to us directly for that if he wants details. But the main part is you have to under leverage. You have to.
Well, under leverage, and you got to be successful on your own first before you can trade other people's money. You know what I mean? The psychology behind it is yeah.
Okay, valid question. How do we contact you directly? So I shared screen earlier. Let me share it again real fast, Mike. If you can tell me your Instagram, or is that where you contact you?
Yeah, Instagram. Just it's it's Fibs and Profit. Like you could just search it, Fibs and Profit.
Fibs in Profit. So
with an S at the end. Fibs, Fibs and Profits. Yeah, here, hold on. Let me see if I can here. I'll just drop it in here. Yeah, it is Fibs and Profits. That's it right there. Yeah, just search that into IG and you'll find it. I'm the only one.
So these are all the IG handles. Whoever you want to contact, you know, friend us, ask questions, whatever you guys need. That's how.
Awesome.
So the person asks, okay, so I'm going to ask this question, then I'm going to go into better questions before we get to the rest of them.
Okay.
How to control your emotions when the price comes to your point of interest or the entry areas and still, comes at your point of interest or the entry areas and still not taking a trade. It's like fear of losing a trade. So how do you control emotions? I guess
I could tell you this. This is what I do, and a good example. I know a lot of people that were, you know, I was trading with a couple guys today on a call, and I'm not a big market execution guy. I'm a pending order guy, right? So I always need a break of structure on a schematic for an entry. And typically that's where I take most of my entries because I can get really tight stop losses. So we get the break of structure. I find, where the candle or the point of interest I'm going to get the entry off of. I put the order in and I put an alert at the stop loss and I put an alert at the new break of structure or the new high or the new low so that, and that alert says move stop loss to break even, or the other one says stop loss hit. So when I'm in the trade, I put the pending or, right before the trade goes active, I put the pending order in and I move on to the next chart. Or like this morning, I said, all right, guys, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. I'll see you guys later. That's how I control my emotions because nothing I'm going to do is going to dictate how the market is going to react. And I can't control that. So I'm just going to go do something else. The trade's going to hit stop loss. Trades are only going to do one of two things, right? It's going to hit stop loss or it's going to go to your take profit. That's it. So, and I'll tell you right now, if you're the fear of losing the trade because if it's monetary, right? Then under leverage, right? You're risking too much. If you can't handle how much you're going to lose, you're risking too much. And that's one of the reasons, like I do a 0.25%, because I'll tell you right now, a full percent, I mean, I can lose one or two trades, but realistically, psychologically, I couldn't handle losing 5 trades in a row. I can lose 5 trades in a row on a 0.25% all day long. And when that 6th trade comes in, I'll jump on it. And if I catch a 1 to 100 on it, guess what? I just made buku money on it.
Yeah,
So that's how I look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. That's how I deal with the psychology part of it. I go do something else or move on to the next chart.
Amazing. You guys getting any value from this? If you are, please type 1. I know I already learned how to cover up my MT4 just now.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, it works.
Notes.
It works.
But no, so I wanted to add to this because we literally had a mindset 3-hour session yesterday with my guys. And I talked about this extensively. How do you overcome fear of losing? And what you said it best, like under leverage is a big thing.
I can tell you that, well, Yuri, I can tell you this, right? So growing up the way I did, right? I mean, obviously I joined the military when I was 19 years old, I went to war. I did all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Yeah. And in that mindset, when you lose, like it's in our genetics, right? As humans, not to lose. We hate losing. I hate losing at everything. I'm one of the most competitive people you'll ever find. Okay. And it took a lot in my mind. It took a lot to get over that when it came to trading. And I can tell you the only thing that really helped me was just the constant feedback from like from a great example, Mark Douglas, from Jesse Livermore, like just reading books, listening audiobooks. I'm that guy. Listen, when you see me at the gym or riding my mountain bike or on a walk or a jog, I'm that guy with my AirPods in, not listening to music. I'm listening to like Mark Douglas, Trading in the Zone, or I'm listening to any other audiobooks that I have. Like I have a whole playlist that I put on SoundCloud that I found and it's reiterating in my mind, it's okay. This is why. And now when I take a loss, for me, sometimes I purposely take the loss just so I can get more information or more data into that chart so I can get a better entry. There's sometimes where you have to sacrifice a position just so you can get a better position. I sometimes I'll even double dog dare the market to stop me out on this position. Cause if it stops me out at this higher position, I'm going to nail it right back on the lower position. I'm going to get more money for it. So go ahead, take my stop loss. Cause I'm going to hit you instead of a 5 pip stop loss. I'm going to take the one at 1.6 and I'm going to make 5 times the amount of profit than you could have, so I that's how I look at it. Like you'll see me something like if there was a camera on me while I'm trading sometimes, like I'm sitting there listening to my Spotify and sometimes I'd be yelling at my screen, like, come on, take it, take my stop loss, take it, and sometimes it doesn't, and it sucks.
And you're like,
sucks.
I only entered 0.1 into this one.
and you was the perfect example. And you today was a great example. Like I took a light risk entry because I didn't want to miss out on the trade. I had a great entry sitting at another candle, like a pip below it. and it didn't pick up that one. It just ran with the other one. And I was like, all right, great, wonderful, but it is what
So
it is.
yeah, I mean, I am. If people who know me, I am sometimes very harsh because I don't ever tell you what you want to hear. And so for lots of people have different backgrounds. So I don't know where whoever asked the question, this girl, if you have a lot of money, if you have a small account, and it losing money if you have $100 account, to me is laughable. But for some reason, for some people, it might be a lot. And my first advice is don't trade with $100 account ever. Build it up to at least, I don't know, 500, 1,000, then trade it. Number one, because you can't take partials, you can't do anything more than 0.01. Like, it's just, why? It's like
You're playing with one arm behind your back.
Well,
Yeah.
I will, Yuri, I will tell you this, right? So my first 3 trading accounts, right? I opened it, again, I joined, I really, that's the one thing that I would say really sucked is you don't have like they teach you how to trade, but they don't teach you how to trade. You know what I mean? So I opened an account, $200, and I blew that one, right? Risk management. Another $200 account, blew that one, risk management. Third account, I put $100, blew that, risk management, right? I had no concept of it. 0.01 per 100. That's what I kept hearing, and then you know what I did? I took, and I still have the screenshot. So I had $16 left in one account. I took that $16 and I said I wasn't going to do anything with it until I got that $16 account to $1,000. And that caused me to take one trade a day, to learn discipline and patience, to only find the one setup that was like the glorious of all setups, right? Just to be patient on it, to make sure I had a stop loss in, to make sure that I wasn't taking a 50 pip stop loss. It was a, at that time it was like, for me, 25 pip stop loss was small. Like I was, oh man, yeah, that's only a 25 pip stop loss. But I forced myself to be disciplined, to be patient, to practice proper risk management. And I think that I want to say I got that account to like $1,900. And from there, from 60, I think I'll have to find it. It was like $16.84. But I got it up to like $1,900. And then from there, obviously like I dumped some more money in because I was like, you know what, at this point, I'm ready. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm looking for. I know how to do it. And, like I built out my trading plan. I committed it to not only, to myself, but like I call it, it's your trading Bible, and you'd be amazed how many people just, if they do have a trading plan, they just, it's in writing. It's not like they don't live by it, and I do. Like it is, listen, discipline and patience are what's going to make you a fantastic trader.
We talked about this last night on our call. Yeah. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's almost laughable to see also. The cool thing for me, it's not laughable, but it's actually amazing to see like how you evolve over the years, how your trading plan has actually changed. Yeah. And it's just, it just makes you, it motivates the hell out of you. For me, it does. But it also, it shows you how, not stupid, but how naive maybe you were before and how much you've learned.
Yeah. So no, absolutely, man. I go back, like I have some videos on YouTube of me like analyzing the market, and I go back sometimes and I'm like, yeah, okay.
All right,
but it's good. Listen, you had to go from there to get to where you are now. You know what I mean? So like, I don't regret it. I don't, it's made me, and not that, like I said, I don't consider myself, a great trader. I don't consider myself the world's greatest trader in the world, but you know what? Every day I strive for that, like I'm always going to chase that no matter what. I always want to chase it. That's what I want to, that's my goal. I know I'll never get there, but it still gives me that drive to wake up every morning, to get into the charts. What's that?
You don't know that. You don't know
well,
that. You
yeah,
might.
but realistically, you
you might.
Nah,
no,
you met me.
That's Mamba.
I know people. Anywho,
that's Mamba mentality right there. You're never going to be the greatest.
So, what was gonna say? Commercial break. I just saved money on Geico. No, I just made a shit ton of money on Nasdaq and GJ. Let's go. Anywho, so before further, before we go further, I want to get this on the recording because the Instagram recording is only 1 hour long, so I want to make sure this part is on there. If you could please, the moment everybody's waiting for, could you walk us through a trade that you recently took, or maybe a trade that you're going to take? Just go through a thought process, top down, whatever, why you took the entry.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
the
yeah.
journal.
Absolutely, man. Hold
So
on.
if did I allow sharing? I think I did.
Let me see. Let me just move this stuff over real quick. Bro, I got a new setup, man. So I got these nice monitors and all this shenanigans. So I'm
Getting
now is the
fancy,
time
huh?
for everyone to grab notes.
yeah. So all right, hold
Take
on.
screenshots.
We will go. Hold on, let me make this wide. All right. All right, where's share screen? Let's see, hold on.
I like that backdrop, by the way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, I was telling, I found
Talked
it
about it with him
on
before the stream.
yeah, I googled it. I just said zoom back. No, it says disabled. You gotta make me.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
it says
Where is it at? Under participants? Maybe?
yeah. Oh, just make me a co-host or something like that, and that'll do it.
No, I allowed panelists to start video. I don't know where it's at.
It should be next to the green tab when it says
More? No. Share screen. Oh,
right. So
all
right
panelists.
there. There you go.
Here, well, you know what? Here,
Yep,
well,
you're good.
yeah,
You're good.
awesome. There we go. Bam. All right, so let's do this. So yeah, we'll go over GU. So I'll talk about GU. This is the trade that I took this morning with some guys. So on GU, like if you don't know what GU is, it's bullish like on every time frame. Like if we come to a weekly, and again, I do a top down. So one of the things I like to do is I use my text notes, right? So I do, every trade I'm looking at for the week, I have in here with the top down analysis and like just an idea of what I'm looking for. And typically what I do is I have, you can see over here on my primary watch list. So I have a secondary watch list, primary watch list, active orders. And if I have a trade that is like a pending, it'll be in my pending order book, right? So in order to make it on my secondary watch list, I have to have like a point of interest, like off a good example would be like NU came into my secondary watch list when we traded into this weekly candle, right? Way up here. So when we traded into this weekly candle and a point of supply, it became on my secondary watch list. And then, once it comes into an area where I want to take a trade, it comes into my primary watch list when I'm actually looking at it. So, GU, we are extremely bullish. Come over to the daily. And we just created a new high. So from a leg perspective, right? If this was the high, we made a new high. This makes this the low over here. All right. We're in an expansionary leg. So fast forward to today, and on the 4-hour chart, I know a lot of people were in this distribution that then turned into a reaccumulation. But I've just kind of been walking it up. There was a really nice trade in here that we caught. And I was just waiting for the new high. So when we caught this new high, there was a fantastic trade in here in this point of interest. And this point of interest is what's ultimately created the new high. So that's why this is a valid point of interest here for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So one advice I can tell you is pay attention to your legs, pay attention to cause and effect, right? What created the new high, the new low, or the break of structure, and how is it created? Pay attention to the candles, and that's really what's going to give you some insight on what you want to do. So fast forward to this morning, what I was looking at was, and one of the, I have to give a shout out to my trading partner, because I wasn't even looking at GU until this morning when I got up at 8 o'clock in the morning. And he says, "Hey, I'm looking at GU." So I happen to peep at GU, and I noticed that we had come down into a point of interest. But if you come over to like the 5-minute chart, right? If we come over to the 5-minute chart, you'll see we're building structure on the 5-minute, right? We ultimately low, high, low, high, low, high. Then we made a low here. So this is what was maintaining bearishness. So during London session, we broke that, right? So when I wake up around 8 o'clock, we're sitting right around here. Okay. And if you just pay attention to the legs, you see I've got them circled. So this is our leg. We pulled back. This is our next leg here. And ideally, I wanted to see a pullback into this area because this is the leg that created the overall break of structure. All right. No Wyckoff involved. This was just simple structure. Okay. So I start building the case, right? I used to be a cop, so you got to build a case, right? Why is the market going to come down there? Well, all right. So we've got liquidity, right? We've got liquidity sitting there. All right. Equal lows. That's a reason. And we got this gigantic 5-minute candle sitting over here. All right. Now, for me, I wasn't looking at the 5-minute because, like I said, I got to the point where a 5-minute open candle is 15 pips. That is way, way too big of a stop loss for me. So, I just start working my trades down. So I look at the 3-minute, the 3-minute candle. Okay. But I understand that if they're going to come down to fill orders, right. And understand why an institution has to grab liquidity. It's to fill orders. They're going to come down here to fill orders. They're going to come out and mitigate out of this sell to buy candle. All right. So what I ended up doing was just paying it, just going through the time frames. One thing I'll tell you is don't get stuck in, I call it tunnel vision. Don't get stuck just staring at a one or two time frames, right? You want to really pay attention to what everything is doing. So, I'll just fast forward a replay mode here. So for me, you can see the difference. The 5-minute candle is way up here. All right. The 3-minute candle is sitting like that. But more importantly, I want to know, well, when price came into this 5-minute candle here, right? Price triggered in at 50%. So I want to know, all right, well, where's the volume that came down? So you could have played off the 3-minute. I personally like this 2-minute, right? This 2-minute for me gave me that last push before we finally gave like a really nice reaction that buys came in. So what I did was I looked at the 2-minute, and again, for me, the 2-minute, for me to get into this trade, I wasn't going to take a 7.5 pip stop loss, right? With my broker GU, it's like a half pip spread. So I would have been a little over 8. So I went off 50%. The market, one of the things that I've learned in all my back testing, the market likes 50s and 80s. They like 50% and 80% of a candle. So that's what I did. I took 50% of this 2-minute candle right here, and I just simply waited, right? I put the order in, and for me, the confirmation to put this order in came as soon as we made a new high, right? As soon as price made a new high, order was in, and I didn't have to worry about it again. So at this point, I have the confirmation for the trade, and there's nothing I'm going to do about it, right? It's either going to hit my stop loss or it's going to go ahead and, come up to an area where I can go to break even. So fast forward to right about there where I get entered into this trade. And my rule is I don't go to break even until I get a break of structure or I get a new high. All right. So walking this down, this right here is going to be where I want to see us or want to see me get into actually, no, I take it back. This right here is where I waited to, because you could still see my alert line right here. I don't know if you can see the orange, but my alert line's right there. That alert told me go to break even. All right. And at this point it is, I'm in the trade. It's 9 o'clock. We're at 9:45. I was looking at some other trades at this point, and then eventually I went to the gym. Target wise, what am I looking at? Well, overall, we're bullish. So I want to see us take a new high here. So, 1.3700 is a nice round number. So that's where I want to take some partials, and that's going to be my target. We're talking a 4.5 pip stop, 18 to 1 on a nice little New York session day. And, from there, it gave some nice impulses and up she went. But that was the whole reason for the trade. I was bullish on it. It's just pro trend, and that's where I took partials right over there. So, what I took from it was a nice, easy trade. There was nothing crazy about it. No schematics. It wasn't like I said, NU was another trade I took today, but this was based off some schematics that we worked entries on. But this, just looking at the higher time frames and dropping down and seeing our points of interest. And again, you can see, like, I'll always have these little red dots because I'm marking my legs, right? I'm marking my legs. Don't get caught up in the noise, right? Don't get caught up in the noise. I showed this to somebody today, or a couple guys today. Like, when the market is doing this, right? Who cares if it does all of this, right? Because that's what this is right here. That's this right here. You just wait for your highs and your lows. All right.
Yep. That's market structure.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go on a limb here
Yeah.
and say this is by far the best Ask a Mentor episode we've had. Thank you very much. I think I'm gonna start charging money for viewing this one because there is a lot of sauce dropped in here. I gotta monetize this motherfucker. Just kidding. But anyway, so if you guys didn't get value from this so far, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe trading is not right for you. Yeah, this, I mean, and by the way, so what you showed right there is simple structure, right?
Yeah.
Simple
That's all it was.
lows and highs. And even though I say simple, for a lot of people, that's not simple because you do get caught in the noise, especially if you are stuck to one time frame.
Yeah.
But the schematic was there as well, and I saw it as well, even without you marking it. But what I keep telling people is understand structure, get profitable with that. Schematic is going to be 100% another confirmation to add to your list.
Yeah.
Which, if you see break a structure, great. If you can't figure out the schematic, okay. But if you can see both break a structure and schematic, boom, you know when to enter.
Yeah.
And that comes to that question of fear of losing. Backtest enough, under leverage, risk 3 pips, like you were saying, and then you know what you're going to lose. No matter what, you're going to lose your $250 on a $100,000 account, or you're going to win 10 grand. So who cares, right? Who cares about that 250? So you shouldn't care. If you, like you said, if you are afraid to lose, you're risking way too much.
Here's something that if you don't mind, let me show this again, because I think this is pretty cool. I let me get a clean chart here. Hold on. Let me show you guys this, because this, I think, will really put in perspective something that I think a lot of people struggle with, right? So, and I did this on my Tuesday night call, so I'm sorry if you guys listen to it again, but I think it needs to be reiterated, right? I know a lot of people live on the small time frames, and they like to just take trades based off breaker structures, right? But let's just I want to show you this, right? Let's pretend this is EU. Okay. Let's pretend this is EU. All right. And hypothetically, let's say that we're bullish, right? But everyone always likes to sell, right? So say hypothetically, you catch the top. You're amazing. You catch this top and you get out here at the precise moment. And this is a 1 to 5. Right. And then say you do this right here, and this is a 1 to 5, right? Because you get out right here. And then you do it right here again, and this is a 1 to 5. Okay. So you've risked 3 to catch 15, right? But what if you just traded with the trend, right? So what if you caught this and you took it up to here, and this was, because it's double, it's a 1 to 10. And then this, because this is a 1 to 10, and this, because this is a 1 to 10, right? Look at that. But wait, that's not all, because this isn't all a 1 to 10, because why are you closing out here when you're pro trend? This is actually a 1 to 30. And this is actually a 1 to 20. And this now is a 1 to 10. So instead of a 3 to 15, you've actually now made a 3 to 60. Okay. You've made a 3 to 60. All right. And this is how I catch. Like last year, I'll tell you right now, this past year, my best trade was a 1 to 287 on Chef JPY. All right. And it was based because of that. And then I added some other orders in there, but pay attention to this, right?
So did it take 1 year to get that trade?
Actually, it only took a week and a half. It was only like 100 and what was it? 196 pips or something. Yeah.
I get it, because your stop losses are 1.5 pips and stuff like that.
On Chef JPY, my stop loss on my LPS entry was a 0.9.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because I mean CHF JPY, I don't think I've ever traded that pair. I can't. Like I said, I have vices, and this requires some next level patience, dude. CHF JPY is a little faster than the turtle.
I only took it because my spread was pretty light on it, and it just happened to print a beautiful schematic that gave me a 0.9 and a 1.3 pip stop loss on 2 entries. So
all right, let's get to some questions real fast. How much time do you got, Mike?
We're good. Go ahead.
All right. So Roger asks, can you share what broker you used to get those small spreads?
Okay, so I have three different brokers. And the reason I have three different brokers is because I use three different, like I use them for different things. So I'll give you an example. I use FX Choice as my broker for indices, for commodities, and for metals. And the reason is because they don't charge me commissions on indices. They don't hold swap fees on oil, and on gold, I have just small spreads on them. So I use FX Choice for that. I use and one of the things I did because of my account size, I'm not comfortable having all of my money on one broker, right? So what I did was
I agree.
I have a currency account, right? So I use a Wanda as my currency account, and the only reason is because they're in the U.S., they're regulated, they're backed by a capital group, So like I know my money's not going to be just, the broker's not going to shut down tomorrow. My money's going to go away. So it sucks because I have a 1-50 leverage, so that really limits me on the trades I can take. So I have to be real selective on my currency account. And then I use KOT Forex for simply Bitcoin. I just trade Bitcoin on it. Yeah. So
Next question.
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna go through these fast because they're coming in. How important? Man, a kind of redundant question, but how important is journaling? I'm in the UK military, and a lot of times I take trades on the move, so not always possible to journal.
This is how I look at it, right? Whether you, whatever profession you're in, if you play sports, right? I always go back to football, right? What do you do before you play an opponent? You watch game film, you review their plays, you look at your past plays, right? And what do you do after an opponent? You always review game film, and you go back and you look at your plays and how you played, right? The quarterback's always looking at the thing. All right, how's the defense set up? If you're not doing that in trading, if you're not looking back at your trades, not looking at what the market has done, like that's why back testing is so important, because you learn how the market on certain pairs react. I can tell you right now, like a lot of the currency pairs I trade are because in my back testing, I have found that they print beautiful schematics, right? One of the things I tell people, and I know I might be going off topic, but one of the things I tell people is when you're looking at a schematic, right? If it's not picture perfect, if it's not beautiful, right? If it's not something that you would, if you were a 5, 7, 8-year-old kid coming home from school, that you would tell your mom to put it on your refrigerator as an art display, then don't trade it, right? Wait for a schematic that is picture perfect, that gives you precision, that you can get in and go, oh man, you know what? I got a 1.5 pip stop loss on it, and I took it for 150 pips. That's what journaling gives you, right? It gives you that confidence. It also gives you the, like you journal enough, you're like, yeah, I don't trade that pair. It just the wicks on it, the price action, it's sloppy. It's always ugly. Euro Chef is one of those. I hate Euro Chef. So
Yeah. So this one I'm gonna take real fast myself, if you don't mind. How do you manage the amount of Go Live sessions you watch? My advice to you, well, first of all, not everyone here is in IAM Academy, so that's just based on IAM Academy. So some people can't afford IAM Academy, some people don't need IAM Academy. So I want to, and there's some people watching on YouTube. So as far as that is concerned, though, whether you have a mentor or whatever, I would say figure out a person that you think resonates with you the most and eliminate everything else.
yeah,
There are
I agree.
a million Go Live sessions, but I can tell you that everyone's different, right? If you listen to Mike Miles, you're probably going to be stone cold mindset and only trade always 3 pair, only quarter points. If you listen to Trade with Matthew, you're going to be index Goliath, but you're not going to be, but he's going to teach structure, so you're going to do that you're going to be good with structure as well as with iffy, right? If you're listening to John Fibonacci, you're probably going to do what I did and learn divergence and think Wyckoff is a joke. So everyone's different, right? So
Yeah.
who is right, who's wrong? It just depends what your style is, what your person is, whatever. So figure out who that is. Figure out what strategy works best for you. If it's Mike Azevedo, by the way, his Instagram was there.
Yeah.
So if it, and just stick with that person, eliminate everything else, and spend more time that you spend on all these different sessions on backtesting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Listen, I for the last, I don't know, year, I've only gone on two go lives for two educators. That's it. I don't go on anyone else's. And it's just because I relate with those people. I can, yeah, 100% what you said, man. You don't
Yeah.
want to be jumping around, and it gets to the point where it really messes with your mindset when another educator is giving information that maybe doesn't jive with what you're learning or back testing. And listen, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat.
Well, I
Oh,
think
how
that
much
it's
video
really
that stuff.
I think it's really important. Part of that is people, if you're going to watch multiple educators, it's kind of like, chasing, like you're in a dollar machine trying to catch money. You're going to be all over the place and things aren't going to make any sense because you're trying to learn this person's mindset, this person's strategy, this person's over here. Not to mention the verbiage is differently. People are actually going to say different words that mean the same thing that this person's talking about over here. And you don't really understand that until you learn one really well. And then you can go to the next one and say, okay, I think I understand this pretty good, to the point where it's boring. That's when you really should move on to somebody. If it's boring and you understand what they're going to say before you move on, don't think you know it. It's kind of like, when I was in college, for example, thinking you know the answers to the test, show up to test and you bomb it. Just because you understand a couple words, and vernacular of things that people saying, learn it so well that you don't, it becomes boring. Then move on, because at that point, then you could be like, oh, well, this is what they were talking about over here, and so you start connecting the dots, and that's when you kind of have those holy shit moments, like, oh, now this makes sense. Now that, yeah. So
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So the next one we can tackle together. Stop losses as small as that. How do you incorporate the spread? I'm just going to tell you that, first of all, it's always a sell. So meaning like the price moves from the sell. So on the sell side, you don't care about spreads because it's going to hit it directly when the top price reaches it. So you don't need to incorporate the spread with that. On the buy side, I have personally, I don't know what Mike does, he's about to answer, but I personally have a rule of adding whatever the spread to my entry.
Yeah,
So
I do the
if
same.
the spread is 2 pips, I just add that spread up.
Yeah, I add the spread to my entry, and then on the sell side, I just add the spread to my stop loss. That's how I do it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But I'll tell you this, just so going with that, and I've told people this 1,000 times, right? So I have an FTMO account, right? If you don't have an FTMO account, you don't know this, but the spreads on FTMO are fantastic, right?
Yep. They're amazing.
So like GN is a pip, right? On my Owanda account, GN is 6 pips of a spread. So guess what currency I don't trade on my personal account? I don't trade GN. I don't trade any NZD pair. I don't trade chef pairs on my personal account, right? Because the spreads typically are bigger than my stop loss. So, I don't worry about it. Like someone's like, hey, can you look at GA? The answer is no, because I'm not going to trade it because the spread's 5.5 pips. I'll trade EU. It's 2 pipettes, or I'll trade like UJ, which is 1 pipette, so that's how I do it. I pick the pairs or the assets that have low spreads.
There you go. While looking to mark out legs, I get stuck on what is noise versus a minor pullback versus a real move. Could you give some rules to start out with as a beginner?
Well, I mean, as a beginner, I can tell you this: just don't go on low time frames. Stick on a 1 hour or 4 hour. It'll make it so much cleaner. Stick to the higher time frame. Follow your highs and your lows. And if I'll tell you right now, if it's a minor pullback, then it's nothing. If it's a minor pullback, it's not. It's a stutter, right? You're just look for the continuation.
It's a complex pullback.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So, anywho, I think this was absolutely amazing. That's okay. Can you? This is going to be the last question. Okay, somebody doesn't speak English. How do you find true supply and demand?
Well, I guess the answer would be, well, the question is this: if you understand schematics, look for your schematics. Look for your distro, look for your accumulation, you'll find supply and demand. If you don't understand schematics, read a couple books.
I'm
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna give a easier answer for you. Um, the way you understand supply and demand is support and resistance.
Mm.
If you see price accumulating in one single place 700 times, and then there's a wick right before that, what do you think a retail trader is gonna do? Is support, put their stop loss under that wick. That right there is where demand is because it's pushing the price up. Opposite on the sell side. So that is your supply and demand. Then you can, like you said, read a little more books on that.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, my last question for you is, if you can, what is your last advice for somebody who wants to become consistently profitable as a trader?
I can tell you this. So if you are a trader and you're not having consistencies, or if you're not having consistency in winning, or not so much winning, but profitability, take a hard look at why you're losing and when you're losing. And I guarantee you, if you start cutting out, like, okay, I see that I'm losing a lot at the beginning of the week, but not at the end of the week. Stop trading the beginning of the week. I see that I'm losing a lot more counter trend moves, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I get a pro trend move, I win, I lose the counter trend move. Stop trading the counter trend moves. Find out there's always a reason as to why you're not being profitable. If you look and you'll look at your journal and it says that your average win is $80, but your average loss is 275, it means that you're over leveraging. Or you're closing your positions too soon. You just have to, I'll tell you this. So if you risk, say you have a $100,000 account, right? And you risk, or say you have $1,000 account, right? And you risk 1%, right? 1%. That means that your average loss should not be more than $10. Okay. And if you look and your average loss is more than $10, you're screwing up your risk management. And risk management, or not understanding, well, I'll tell you right now, risk management is probably the reason most people aren't profitable.
If you want to be mentored by Mike or myself or Ryan, or any of our guests that come to the stream, message us privately. Don't ask a question like that for everyone to see. Just message directly. Don't be afraid. And I'm sure Mike will respond after 5 years when he sees it. Anywho, so to summarize, cover your phone with the sticky note so you don't see the negative and you just see the number of pips. Analyze Wyckoff primarily if you want to learn, as well as structure on a higher time frame, and at yourself in the mirror to be honest with yourself of why you're losing if you're not consistently profitable.
Pretty much, man.
This is exactly the biggest thing that my message was yesterday, and I'm glad you great minds think alike, that you said it. Like, stop affirmations like, oh, I am going to be profitable, I'm a millionaire. Instead, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm losing because I am screwing up my risk management, or because I am
be honest.
Jumping into trade too early, or chasing trades, or revenge trading, whatever the hell it is, and stop doing that. And that's the information. I'm only trading according to my trading plan. I'm journaling every day. That's the information that's going to get you to the result, not some unicorns that are, Volvos and Lamborghinis and stuff.
No, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you so much, Mike, for coming to the stream. Go ahead, Ryan.
I have one last question. What are you listening to these days, music wise?
I have on Spotify. I'll tell you right now, man. Like I've always been a rock guy. I love rock music. 80s, 90s.
I know
rock.
you did. I just basically look at you. That's why.
I love it. I love rock music. But man, I'll tell you, like I like just chill music. A lot of like beat music. Like that's normally what I'm jamming to when I'm trading, man. I got some and most people, like, especially if you're on the Discord, you'll because I have my Spotify link. So I know a lot of people always hit me up like, man, that was a good playlist, because they'll listen to it too. But yeah, I need some good rock music, man. So
nice. Me too.
Good.
Man, we got to talk more.
Yeah, we'll send you some stuff.
Yeah.
So Metallica. Anywho, so thank you
Nope.
so much for coming to the stream.
Awesome, man.
Incredible value. By far the best Ask a Mentor we've had. I don't know if I'm going to share it now. Maybe I'll just watch it and listen to it when I work out.
New podcast,
But anyway,
bald guys with beards.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There you
make
go,
a new
man.
podcast like Joe Rogan, also
Yeah.
bald. Anywho, until next time, whenever that's gonna be, we're signing off. Mike, if you could stick around for a second.
Yeah, man. You got it.
Everyone else, have a good night, and we'll let's get it.